Thank you all for coming out to Everlasting Life today to choose our facility for such an event as this one today. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we do and about how important your health and wellness is, especially as it ties into much of the information that I've heard as I've walked through. First off, Everlasting Life is now, we opened our doors in 1996. So we're 12 years old as of this point. And we're continuing to grow. We're looking to expand this year. Our goal and purpose is to provide a viable food source to an otherwise underserved or disserved community. That's why you won't find us going in Reston. We're not going to go out to Rockville. You know, we're going to stay with our focus and our purpose, providing that viable food source to a community that otherwise is inundated with Crack McDonald's and Murder King and Taco Hell and Wendy's and Chokers and the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease. They just dropped one out here. And that's what we see is happening to our community. And I want to, in the spirit of what's being said today, I want you all to understand something that seemingly you're missing. And you're missing it because, again, as the brother was mentioning, you know, you go through this training and you begin to be able to read facial indicators. And I can read across the room as I look at everybody's faces that we're not putting the right things into our body. Okay? So we're appealing to, in most instances, is our tongue. We appeal to what we think is going to make us feel good. And that's most likely the wrong thing. And I'm going to tell you how this whole thing works. In the United States of America back in the 1920s, the FDA and other entities came together and they said, you know, we're going to take nutrition out of food and we're going to make it so that nutrition is only available through either pharmaceutical drugs or some nutritional supplement or some other means. But that way they had better control over the health and well-being of the American population. And if you go to our grocery stores here in this local area, some of you all call them by other names, I call them Danger Way and Midget. If you go there, you'll find that they have like 30, 40 different rows worth of stuff, right? And then they give you a half of a lane of health food, right? And most of us spend all of our time in the rows of stuff and no time in the health food section. And it never registers in our mind that if that's the health food section and they clearly identify it as such, then obviously all this stuff is unhealthy. And we spend our time pulling 2 carts through that section trying to fill up so that we can feed the family. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're poisoning ourselves. And of course, there's the other lane in there. That's the organic produce section that they've got there, which we all know is questionable. But if you really are concerned that much about it, then grow it in your backyard. Okay. And also, as we are led to believe that, you know, in this world, in this economy, as things become more challenging, we're challenged by eating healthy. When you compare what the cost of to eat healthy is to somebody who's not eating healthy and now has had their prostate removed, they will tell you in a minute, I wish I had eaten healthy. You know, I wish I had done the right thing on the front end. And then when we start thinking about the dynamics of our health as it relates to the African American, a lot of us consume what we call the soul food diet, right? And we lift it up. Like, yeah, we're going to have fat back in our greens and in our macaroni and cheese, and then we're going to have fat back, period. So there'll be fat back in like 3 of the things that we eat. And if we could drink fat back, we would do that too, right? And it's all in the spirit of consuming that which we believe associates us or better associates us with our culture. But that was something that was given to us. That's not something that's natural. And as we look and we see this paradigm continuing to grow of poor health in the African American community, there's something else that I'd like to make you aware of. How many of you all, when you're riding down the street, because I noticed we got a couple of big Jeeps outside with the big tires. How many of you all are comfortable when you ride down the street with rolling over a dead chicken? When you see a dead chicken in the road, how many of you actually point your tire towards the chicken to roll over it? No? Why not? I heard a why not? Why wouldn't you roll over it? Wait a minute now. You got your big 22-inch tires sitting up under your Escalade. You roll over it, right? Because it's no big deal, right? Why not? Why don't you roll over it? Because it's disgusting, right? And because you might get blood up on the side of your car, and you might get some skin of the chicken up on the side of your car or stuck in the groove in your tire, and that's just disgusting. But nowhere in that big, beautiful brain of yours does it translate that you have a problem rolling over it but have no problem putting it in your mouth. Nowhere in your mind do you understand that you were never trained to avoid it out on the road. That's just a natural instinct. This is conditioning. You've been conditioned to do this and you feel like this is what you should do. And when I tell you it's not what you should do, you defend it as though somewhere along it in the way God told you that this is the way that you should eat? Because that's how strong we defend it until we get sick and the people walk through the door with some ailment and say, Dr. Brooke, I'm ready to do whatever it is you tell me to do now. And of course then, when I say you got to get rid of the chicken, the eyes close and it's like, oh man. The only thing that it's appealing to is your tongue. The rest of your body suffers when you consume them. So we need to be mindful of what we're falling victim to, because ultimately your health is your responsibility. We heard talk about, you all have heard about the Tuskegee Institute. And you've heard about all these other experiments that have been done and are still being done. And you continue to let yourself be victim to that by continuing to not eat healthy, so that one day you're going to end up laying on that table with them making a decision whether they're going to cut you, radiate you, or poison you with chemotherapy. You're not mindful enough to know that you got to make a change and it's your responsibility, then you're faking. All of this is just to fake me out. You're just making it seem like this is important to you. If this isn't important to you, how could anything else be important to you, right? Isn't it right? Right. I mean, because otherwise you're doing all of this for somebody else. You're doing it all for somebody else. So what we do here is we educate people about health and wellness. I've been teaching a lot about immunity here of late. And I'd like for everybody, if you got a pen, write down a web address. Did you all know that there's a cure for cancer? Yep. No, you didn't. Because if you did, we'd be on top of the White House screaming it around, right? Letting everybody know. You didn't know. We'd be hard, because all our people are dying from cancer. How many of us knew there's a cure for diabetes? Yep. Nah, you ain't know that. The cure for cancer is the same cure that keeps your finger from just bleeding till you bleed to death. It's called your immune system. But as long as we continue to eat this poor diet, our immune system is subdued. The website is makewellnow.com. Makewellnow.com. And we're talking about enhancing the strength of our immune system. And it's a big wave that's taking place. We've already gone through the herb cycle. We went through the nutraceutical cycle. We remember back in the day we were doing aloe vera juice and noni juice. Now we're into a product that is now giving us the wherewithal to strengthen our immune system by 437% plus. And now you're talking about eradication of illness completely. So again, I want to thank Brother Bobby Hemmett. I want to thank Brother TJ for again choosing Everlasting Life as a place where we could engage in this type of dialogue. You at home, all right? This is your house. Come back, get something to eat, nourish the body as we nourish the soul, and don't be a stranger. Thank you.